Video, we're going to create some more components and use them inside of our main app component here. So basically what I'm going to do under source is I'm going to create another directory and I'm going to call it components. And this is where basically our reusable components live, because that's part of the great appeal of React, is just how reusable it is. So if I was to create a component, I wouldn't create a component that would say blog page necessarily. I would create a component that would say nav, accordion, link, and reuse those across my entire site. So underneath components, I'm just going to create a few components for this project that we're going to build. So I'm going to create a color.jsx. I'm going to create a color form.jsx. I'm going to create about.jsx. Now about isn't really a component, but it is sometimes nice to split things up into components, even if they're not strictly interface elements, just so that our app file here does not get too ridiculously long and out of control. So let's go back into color here just to start building our first component. So the first thing we need to do with the component is we need to import React. So we just type import React from React. Webpack's going to do the rest. It knows what to do. Now we need to create a function that actually basically is our component, and then we need to export that component as the default export for this file. So I'm going to type const to basically declare a new variable, and I'm going to type color. It's typical that you would match the name of the file. I'm going to say this like this. This is an arrow function, an JSX arrow function. It works pretty much the same as a regular function. If I was to type function color and remove this, it would work pretty much the same, but leave it like this. So inside of a component, we need to return basically our component itself. We open parentheses after the return to basically give us more lines to work with. And at the bottom of the page, we need to go export default color. Just like that. Just like that. So here I can put in a h3 tag if I wanted to, and I could say color component. So what I'm going to show you here is how we can use this color component in our app file. So all we need to do is we need to import it just like we're importing React or React DOM. So if I make a few lines, I'm going to just put a comment here, go custom components. I'm going to go import color, which is the name of our component, from, and I just need to tell it where to get it from. So we have a component, // to go for the current directory, components, not components, components, /color.jsx here. So in a React component, the child of the return function needs to be a single element. So if I was to put it here, just above here, it wouldn't work because there's two tags at the root level. So I need to wrap both the color component and this h1 tag in another tag. So I'm just going to go div like this. Let's move the closing bracket here. And then I can just use the color component like this, the same way we're rendering the app component with this style syntax. And now if we run npm build, or npm run build rather, if I go back to my browser here, we can see that we're importing the color component from another file and using it in our app file. One of the great things about React is its ability to break up components into different files. It's very modular. It's very modular, and that is very much a developer-friendly thing to be for a user interface library. So another thing that we can do from this parent component of app is we can pass properties to our child components. So if I was to say inside this tag, I would say title equals hello world. So we have to wrap it in braces. And then we can put a function in here. We could put an object in here. We can put strings in here. We can put integers in here. So we would set it up like any old attribute for a HTML component. If I save this, if I go to colors, I now need to pass in what's called the props argument to this component. But now anything that I've passed to the component via this tag is available to me. So I can replace this color component here with props.title, which is what we called it. Yeah, title, props.title. And now it should say hello world instead of color component like it said before. Let's have a look, hit refresh. It says hello world. I can easily change this to add a few of these, save it again. Webpack's going to run very quickly, and then we get it here. So this is how to pass dynamic content to a React component. The other thing we can do is there's a special type of property called children, which allows us to create a not self-closing tag, but allows us to wrap content around a tag. So if I was to change this from a / to make this into an opening tag, I could close it here. Let's close it down here a bit, and let's create another H3, and let's call this child element. So now we're passing two properties to this color component. We're passing a title property. We're also passing a children property. So in our component, we need to create a top level tag so we can wrap both of these here. And then underneath this H3 tag, we can write props.children. Sorry. And then anything we've wrapped in this color tag is going to appear here. So let's just check that out in the browser. You can see we have the child element. We can add as many of these as we want, and it uses the same sort of HTML style tag-based syntax here. So if we go here, we have heaps of them. So that's some of the fun things you can do with components. In the next movie, we're going to build up some of our components to work for our color picker application that we're building.